Hey y'all, Lotus here. I apologize in advance because you can probably tell this is not going to be like my usual reaction and analysis videos when it comes to fighting game trailers. To give y'all a forewarning, I'm going to go ahead and start this off with explaining and telling you how I feel about Baiken's trailer, but it's going to transition into something completely different but related. So if you just want to hear how I feel about the trailer and don't want to hear me pretty much ramble for maybe another couple of minutes, you're more than welcome to click off of this video. I don't mind it, I'm not going to get upset, but at the same time, I feel like I have to talk about this other thing because it's a big part of the reason why I'm in such a weird place when it comes to this Baiken announcement. So there you go. With that being said, Baiken's trailer was great. Flawless, I would say. Like, it was just so cool seeing how seamlessly she fit into a game like Samsho. And when I say that, I'm talking about just the way she plays. I can already hear some people talking about, oh, like you didn't expect a samurai character to seamlessly fit in Samsho? Come on, man, it's obvious. That's not what I'm talking about. Samsho and Guilty Gear are vastly different games as opposed to like Samsho and The Last Blade. I mean, The Last Blade is considered a spiritual successor to Samsho. Those of you that play games like Tekken 7, and you know you have Akuma and freaking Geese in there bringing like the meters into that game, that's what I'm talking about. From what I saw in that trailer, she has like all of her old moves, but it doesn't seem like she has like any meters or like any outside mechanics that she brings into Samsho, and I'm not saying that's a bad thing. That's just why I say I love how seamlessly she seems to fit into there without having to bring anything from Guilty Gear. As far as like mechanics are concerned, I mean, when it came to supers, when they brought her over, it's like, oh, you got multiple supers and an instant kill over in your game? Well, over here you only get one weapon flipping technique and SSM. I mean, you're gonna have to pick which one is which, you know. I'm still eager to see like what type of story they'll have for Baiken when it comes to story mode. I'll be on the lookout for those of you that like post content on YouTube of y'all playing the arcade mode and like the cutscenes and stuff. I'll be looking out for that because I'm curious, who is Baiken gonna come into Samsho and have like a rivalry with? But yeah, even in terms of like her design then, her 3D model, seamless fit then, like looks really, really good. It was also cool once again hearing another SNK composition of theme music from outside of the Samsho universe. I was not really into the Warden, but that theme song slaps. And I know it's still an SNK game, but the composers and the arrangement for the Samsho version of Hibiki Takane's theme, still good. I always love how her theme music starts. It's just so good. And with Baiken, they knocked it out the park again, and I can confidently say that because while I was sitting there listening to the music, and maybe it's just because I haven't played Exard in a while now, but I wondered, was this an SNK cover, or did Daisuke slip them an MP3 and be like, yeah, you know, I know y'all know me as a dev, but you know, some of these people are on to me, like they're memeing and they're joking, but they're technically right. I keep putting out these games just to further my music career. Like, will y'all take like this one rendition I did of Baiken's theme and y'all can use it in Samsho, you know, give y'all a little less work to do, you know what I'm saying? That's one of my favorite jokes when it comes to like fighting games in general. Daisuke putting out new games to help further his music career. Point is, SNK did a great job with it. While it is one of the more aggressive sounding songs in Samsho, hard rock and metal is not really absent from the game. Galford's theme is the first one that instantly pops up in my head, and also just the way the menacing guitars creep in with freaking Genjiro's theme. The Samsho soundtrack I think is very underrated. Very underrated. And that's really like the long and short of how I feel about it. Baiken looks great, the trailer was awesome, but is the hype there for me? And this is where the second half of this video comes in. And remember, if you want to click out of this right now, I don't fret you, I won't be mad, but I gotta say this. I usually look at event hubs when it comes to getting like updates about trailers and stuff like that. I actually first heard about this from Augusto, one of my faithful viewers, shoutouts to Augusto, and he told me about it long before Event Hubs put the article up. And I get it, not stepping on Event Hubs or anything, but a lot of stuff was going on around that time. Evo was just concluding, Akira and Oro were en route to being put into Street Fighter V at the time. A lot of stuff was coming out. I mentioned Augusto tipping me off to that news because after he sent me that, I went to the official SNK Twitter to see if there was anything there, and I happened to see that people who were highly anticipating this Guilty Gear character were then forced to play the very same game that all of us who have been following KOF 15 have been forced to play. Who's that Pokemon? It's always kind of cool seeing all the different theories, especially when it's a very ambiguous one, like all of the hype surrounding what turned out to be Antonov. And then of course you have people telling jokes, some of them funny to me, some of them not. But then I was reminded of something else that always just annoyed me when it came to fighting games as such. I saw a couple of posts where if I could just take all of those posts and feed them into a computer or a machine, the thing that would pop out would sound like this. Stop ruining our fun by talking about rollback netcode, okay? Anybody who's talking about rollback netcode is the reason why they can't play and enjoy this game when you got a character like Baiken in there. You just want the game to fail. Before I go any further, let me say this. If you actually believe that statement in any way, shape, or form, you're foolish. Real talk. Also, before you even think about it, don't come talking to me about the toxic people in the SNK rollback movement. And I'm saying it because I don't endorse that stuff either. I'm a competitive player, and competitive players do stuff that I don't like either. One of my friends just recently picked up his very first Guilty Gear being Strive, and you got this one other guy who is he was a mutual I met through somebody else. Really good freaking player, but he kind of ruined the experience by telling this guy, you should do this, you should do this, you should do that. That's not the way to teach, man. The way I teach people, and it might not be the best, but hey, I prefer it because I want fighting games to be for everybody that wants to pick them up. When it's your first game, I say, go pick up the game, go in training mode, arcade mode. If you want to go online or whatever, that's cool. Bump around, figure out how your character works, figure out how the game works, and then later we'll talk about tech and, improving and getting better if you want to go down that route. That's how I do it. So before you think I'm flag waving for the FGC, get a grip, because I don't. I don't like the gatekeeping attitude of competitive players either. So miss me with all that. But I also don't like people in the SNK rollback movement that are going about it the wrong way. The worst that I've seen is certain people spamming it ridiculously. Like a lot of these spam bots that I have to keep constantly updating my blacklist to prevent anybody from clicking anything malicious and having that crap in my comment section. That's the worst I've seen. Now, if somebody's out there doxing or freaking doing something even crazier, I'm not for that either. So like I said, don't come at me with that because I disavow that. I was on Twitter, I'm currently not because it's a garbage rat hole of a website. But I had to go straight to the source to see, because all I kept hearing about from certain detractors was SNK rollback is so toxic, they're so toxic. But I was seeing a whole bunch of people making solid cases for why they want stuff like Samsho, stuff like KOF 15 to have rollback. And before you come at me, no, there was no confirmation that KOF 15 has rollback unless something recent just came out. The post that came from Oda strictly said at the end that can't promise anything, which I applaud him for his honesty, but still, that puts it in the air. Arguably the best post that I've seen out of all the people talking about SNK rollback was somebody who apparently lived in a very small town, and the people there that play fighting games or whatever, they play the popular stuff, your Street Fighters, your Tekkens, and your Marvels. And when KOF 2002 UM came out with rollback, they were able to finally share their love for KOF with people all across the world with a good playing experience. What is wrong with that? Another thing that annoys me about this is that the people that keep being critical of the SNK rollback movement and what it stands for, I don't play online so I don't care. Okay then, you're set. arcade mode, training mode, survival mode, all of this single player stuff, all this offline stuff will never go anywhere. And the fact that we want a better net play experience will not override that. Unless a freaking developer is hella dumb. And also, some of you out there that get on your little high horse talking about some, oh, look at those competitive players then. They're letting something little like rollback netcode prevent them from like having a good offline experience. I play offline mode and I enjoy it. Like, oh wow. Do you want me to pat you on the back and tell you how special you are? The thing about it with people that self-identify as casuals that don't care about online play, they call competitive players toxic, and that's just where it is. And there's truth to that. Like I said, competitive players gatekeep and do a lot of stuff that I can't stand at times, even as somebody like me who is a competitive player that has fun with games like these by competing against people. But the fact that you are maligning people for not enjoying a game the same way that you do, let me tell y'all about one more person that I remember. Back when I was on Facebook, another garbage rat hole site, I was in this Street Fighter group when Street Fighter V came out. I think it was called Street Fighter Fans or something. Regardless, in the description it would tell you that this group is for Street Fighter fans. Any person who's a competitive player that rolls up in there expecting everybody to be like a serious player is an idiot, because fans of these fighting games come in many different shapes, sizes, and appreciate the games for many different reasons. There is this one fool, like I think he got mad at some people that were just joking around and memeing and stuff like that, and he makes a post talking about, y'all cut out doing those Hadouken and Shoryuken memes and stuff then. If you keep doing that, you'll never be like Daigo. Like, dude, did you read the description, man? Have you seen the people in the group? There are people that just post fan art. Why are you in a group with a very diverse demographic talking about y'all don't want to be like one of the best pro players ever? Everybody doesn't want that. The reason I bring him up is because if you're one of these people that looks down and scoffs at people that like to compete online and play online and saying like, oh, you guys are so freaking stupid, you guys can't even enjoy an offline experience. Y'all are no different than this fool I just mentioned, because you are maligning people for not enjoying a game the same way that you do. And that right there is toxic. So check yourself, alright? I have casuals that watch my stuff all the time. I remember because even though like the Shattering, I think the most that we've gotten far as concurrent viewers is maybe 15. But when I was ranting about rollback netcode on there for like the umpteenth time, most of everybody, like Jose and others then, shoutouts to Jose, Suichi, most of them say they don't really care about online play. But you know what? They were respectful for me because they understood my frustration with it. You all with this other mess out here, like y'all just want the game to fail. The people out here that are talking about SNK rollback, they want to play. That is why that statement is asinine. Y'all want the game to fail. Please, grow up, man. This just goes to show you that you don't have to be like a super hardcore competitive player to be toxic. Toxicity is telling somebody they've done a great job when they've done a crap job. That's toxic. And sorry, not sorry that I don't enjoy beating up on CPUs that are dumber than a freaking bag full of chocolate covered plastic hammers. Sorry, not. Samsho doesn't even have that much to offer in terms of single player content. Grand Blue Fantasy Versus annoyed me because of netcode, but that game had it. Soul Calibur 6 had it with the whole create a character thing. Like, I legit had fun in like 5 and even 6 just creating characters. Samsho unfortunately doesn't have that. And Samsho is a niche title. I didn't major in business, I majored in IT. But I'd like to think if I had a freaking fighting game franchise that I was in charge of that was niche, I would try to make sure that everybody possible would want to play it. Casuals, hardcores, pro players, everybody that wants to get their hands and play the games. And if you stuck here with me, you're wondering, what does this have to do with Baiken? Well, that's the thing. I love Baiken as a character. I love the fact that she is in a series that I loved playing. If Samsho had good net play, I would probably be like balancing between it and freaking Strive right now. When y'all tune in when I do random streams, I be playing some Samsho sometimes, and cause I like it. And not a lot of people where I live really dig Samsho either. We had to have pro players like freaking Painbot and Big Baits, shouts to them, to come down here to try to invigorate some interest in the game. When the pandemic hit, Painbot and company were like doing these online regional tournaments. But then when the umpteenth patch came out and SNK refused to even address anything about netcode, he said screw it. This is why having Baiken and Samsho makes me super happy, but it hurts just as much. And it has me stuck in a very, very weird place. And best believe, I may try to jump through whatever hoops I can jump through to try to at least play with Baiken. I just joined a freaking Samsho Discord. Maybe that'll help. Maybe Baiken will be the draw that this game needs to like show SNK, hey, people care about this. Can you make the experience good for everybody within reason? If SNK were to release Samsho like a complete edition with an improved netcode, I'd buy it. But seeing what they did with that KOF 14 complete edition or whatever it's called, I have my doubts. But man, if they pull it off, it's gonna be a happy day, honestly. I really don't like doing videos like this. I want to come on here and have fun, but like, I can't just sit here and pretend like I was just straight up alright with it. I really didn't want to talk much about this whole netcode thing again because I think I talked about it enough on the Shattering, but it actually applies here. Because Baiken and Samsho, great. The way she looks and plays, phenomenal. The situation at hand though, for me, puts a damper on it. If you like playing offline, by all means, go right ahead. There are not a lot of things that I can say that I have never said in my life. But I can say that one thing I've never said before is that if you don't play fighting games with the intention of going to EVO and tournaments and getting better, you're stupid. Because that thinking is idiotic. Don't know how many times I've said it in this rant, but I'm gonna say it again. Fighting games should be for everybody that wants to pick them up. Whether they love the visuals, doing combos, competing, playing arcade, unlocking stuff, whatever it is about fighting games that you enjoy about them, you should be able to enjoy them, period. It even goes just beyond like players then. Cosplayers, visual artists. You look on YouTube, people doing covers and mashups and music videos with fighting game music, fighting game characters and clips. I am a competitive player. I don't know what it is, but like people see the stuff that I cover like on my channel, like the content that I make, and they think this person gotta be a casual, I guess because hardcore fighting game players don't care about storylines and stuff like that. Well, you're wrong. But I also get the most fun from my fighting games by competing against others. Why can I not enjoy a game by playing arcade mode, you ask? Me personally, that's what I grew up doing. Much like that person I mentioned earlier that lived in that town where nobody played SNK games, that was me. When I was younger, when it came to fighting games, if you weren't talking about Marvel, Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, or Tekken, man, get out of here. I've spent years and years and years playing all of the single player stuff in various SNK games because as far as people that I knew personally, nobody played those games. Even something like KOF 13. And I remember pre-ordering it because that is still my most favorite pre-order bonus that I've gotten for any game. Full disc set of every KOF soundtrack up until 13. Later that very same day, a friend of mine was having a gaming get-together. Fighting games and all that then. Now a lot of them also like Smash. I brought in KOF 13, and to their credit, some people tried it, but for all of maybe half an hour, that's all everybody played. They wanted to go back to play Smash. You can't make somebody like something. The most that you can do is persuade. There's a couple reasons why I told y'all these stories, and one, to answer the question as to why I don't get any enjoyment of playing arcade mode in the CPU. Now, if there's something with a twist, like you have to play it to unlock something like what they did with Mortal Kombat 11, that's one thing. Samsho doesn't have that. The last KOF didn't have that. Now, at least things are looking up for 15 with this story mode, if that is the case. But once again, think about that person that I told you that lived in that small town where nobody played SNK games. Something as simple as rollback netcode that allows them to play with somebody wherever there may be KOF players. Don't you think that that was cathartic for that person to finally be able to play with someone else that loves the series as much as they do? What's wrong with that? I'm sorry this went on for longer than I expected, but I really just had to blow off steam about this because it's just insane. But if you want the TLDR version, like if you skipped here by chance, Baiken's trailer, great. Her presentation, her look, phenomenal. The situation at hand, for me personally, has put a damper on it. That's all I really got. What do y'all think? Let me know in the comments. Until next time, this is Chris Lotus. Y'all take care of yourselves. Be safe out there. See ya.